seems like Republicans are giving New Jersey a hard look. The nominee last time, a guy named Jack Ciattarelli, state legislator, came out of nowhere. People couldn't even pronounce his name or spell it for some. Maybe people who follow politics very closely were shocked to see that he came within 2.5 points of beating the Democratic incumbent last time. So now there's a large Republican field.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford. I'm here with magazine editor David Mark. And David, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, she was going to be the UN ambassador. That didn't work out because of House math. Now she's eyeing a run for the governorship of New York. Is this a realistic possibility for her, for a Republican to win statewide, or is this sort of just a pipe dream?
Yeah, Congresswoman Stefanik made her name as part of the Republican leadership in the House. She was very vocal, coming out against university presidents after the October 7th attacks and various related issues. She's been a strong supporter of Donald Trump. Her national ambitions didn't quite work out being UN ambassador, as you note. But yeah, she's looking at the 2026 race for governor of New York. And even though a Republican hasn't won the New York governorship since 2002, you can see why she would have some real interest in it. New York went pretty hard to the right in 2024. Donald Trump still lost there to Kamala Harris, but it was a lot closer than it has been in many years.
Now, I've seen some rumblings that Congressman Mike Lawler is also potentially eyeing entering that race. There's two interesting kind of related questions that I have there. One is that, Lawler's seat is a huge battleground, right?
Yes.
So would that essentially be Republicans conceding a seat, which is tough in this environment, but also could Lawler, given that he's been a moderate in a much more moderate seat, be a better fit for a state that's just starting to turn the teeniest shade of purple?
That's a really important point in that Lawler has been positioning himself for, it seems like a statewide run, for a good time now. He's spent a lot of time on national TV, cable channels, etc. And he's a solid Republican, but he's just critical enough of Trump that he can win over some more centrist votes, potentially. We don't know. It hasn't entered the race yet. Stefanik might have a tougher time than her congressional district, which is huge. It runs from the Albany area all the way up to the Canadian border and points west. Trump won there 60 to 39% over Kamala Harris. So it is deep red, but that doesn't mean she could necessarily win statewide. Having said that, she's a pretty talented politician, and she's shown she has a lot of dexterity. She can think on her feet, and she might be able to thread that needle, although it's still tough for any Republican to win statewide in New York, even though they've come a lot closer recently than in years prior.
Yeah, there were so many dreams for Lee Zeldin, but the margin ended up being pretty big, right?
Well, he lost to the Democratic governor, Kathy Hochul, about 53 to 47%, which is a whole lot better than previous Republican nominees, but it's still not that close. And I would imagine that's something Congresswoman Stefanik and Congressman Lawler probably keeping a pretty close eye on, running the numbers to see where they might actually be able to win, particularly in an off-year, a midterm election cycle, when traditionally the party where the opposite the president does much better.
Now, just slightly to the south, we have New Jersey, whose gubernatorial contest is much sooner. It's just in November. And you and I were just chatting about how the last time they had an off-year election in 2021, it was the year Glenn Youngkin won in Virginia, and the Biden backlash had started. New Jersey ended up being so close, and Republicans were like, oh my gosh, was this a winnable contest? We didn't know.
Yeah.
Are they going to invest in the race this time?
It seems like Republicans are giving New Jersey a hard look. The nominee last time, a guy named Jack Ciattarelli, state legislator, came out of nowhere. People couldn't even pronounce his name or spell it for some. Maybe people who follow politics very closely were shocked to see that he came within 2.5 points of beating the Democratic incumbent last time. So now there's a large Republican field. There's state legislator John Bramnick, Republican. Bill Spadilla, he's a longtime radio show host, probably the most MAGA-esque character in the Republican primary field. Democrats have a contested field themselves. That's a state that also has moved right in 2024 almost as much as New York. So it's one Republicans feel they have a shot at, but I still think that's an uphill climb.
Well, David, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You can get more reporting from David and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.